And we are live on another edition of All In on High School Sports. Kurt Valenti, Jennifer Valenti, how are you?
I'm well. Good evening.
What's going on?
Nothing much.
Okay.
Getting back into after a day off yesterday. Getting back into the swing of things. So
yeah, got a haircut.
You did.
Got a nice haircut.
Courtesy
yeah, so
of, your brother.
Yeah, I'm back in
job.
action. I am back in action. There's Mr. Beelan. Let me start this off with the proper intro. Best duo in the game and best female star hoops.
Thank you, Mr. Beelan, and thanks for watching.
Hey, excited about March Madness around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Big games coming up this week. Good thing is the Knicks won't aggravate us until Friday night this week, so we get a couple nights off. And that's it, following the high school thing, big weekend of girls wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give a shout out to, I know, Coach Cordoba. I think he had 4 state champions.
Yep, that he trains. Yep.
Our other good friend, Coach Fava.
Who we're hoping to have on next week with his girls state champion from his school, IC, in Lodi, correct?
Yes, in Lodi. I want to give a shout out to Coach Aaron Kahn in Garfield. I would believe he had a second place finisher.
Nice.
I want to say... I don't know if it's Belleville or Bloomfield. I want to say it's Belleville, but they had a couple big places. So
nice to see that girls program continuing to grow. It's fantastic.
Yeah. So what do we got on the agenda tonight?
Well, speaking of wrestling, we're going to welcome the Elmwood Park wrestling coach Tommy Mulligan to the show. He earned his 100th career victory this season, so we'll discuss that with him as well as his season and his program. And then we will also welcome Irvington Bowling coach Myles Hart, and one of his bowlers, Latrell Ellis, will join him as well. So we got a nice evening ahead of us.
There's Dr. John. Bloomfield 2 state championships. I
nice,
knew it.
Very nice. Yeah.
Coach Breslin, good evening. Finally able to get back on. Looking forward to a great show.
Oh,
Thank
nice.
you, Coach Breslin.
Hi, Coach. Thanks for watching. So nice. Very nice.
So I say we bring Mr. Mulligan on.
He is here and ready to go, so let's get him in for sure.
I'm telling you, we got to get a board of who's been on the most.
I was just going to say, there's Coach. He's been on a few times. We got to see the exact number. Hi, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. How are you guys?
Good. Thank you for joining us, as always. We were just saying, you're a return guest. We were trying to think how many... when you coach multiple sports, especially, right? But again...
Yeah, it's not fair.
Yeah.
But Coach still owns...
An uneven playing field.
Coach still owns the best... what do you want to say? What's the word? Not visit, but best appearance at the wedding.
Yep.
At the wedding.
Yeah.
Hands down.
That was his debut.
Nothing will ever top that. It's just, how can it?
Well, you know what? It's a sign of his dedication to his program. So we're glad to have you back, Coach. Thanks so much for joining us. Let me just reintroduce you to everyone. We are joined by head wrestling coach Tom Mulligan of Elmwood Park, also the head football coach there since 2014. This season, Coach Mulligan reached the 100th victory milestone with Elmwood Park Wrestling, and he joins us to talk about that, his 2021-22 season, and of course his wrestling program in general. So welcome again, Coach.
Thanks for having me, guys.
And Coach, I'm not joking. I did this for you tonight. I'm rocking a little Elmwood Park red.
I got to send you some T-shirts.
Yeah, we get some Elmwood Park. Yeah, the only ones I have is one from, 1999. I don't know how that would look. But
those are good ones, though.
Of course, they're real good ones. But, Coach, like Jen said, congratulations on your 100th win. Awesome accomplishment.
Thank you.
I'll start first. What does it mean to get, for you to get your 100th win?
It was awesome that night, like just in general. A lot of it made me think of when I had my first one. I walked off the mat, my dad was like, "You got 99 more." Ever since then, I was like, "All right, like what's going on?" Like, I thought about it more and more over the years when we started winning more and more matches, and I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "We really might do this. We might get to 100." But it's more of a testament to the kids, like all their dedication. Because when we first started, we were walking into gyms and there was 8 kids on the team giving up 6 forfeits, losing mathematically before the match even began. And you just like switching it to them, like, hey, listen, we're worried about head to head. We want to win more than 4 tonight. And then we just started going like that. And then we started making themes like bring a friend. Every year you had to bring another friend or something. And then our numbers just grew and grew and grew. And I think it's just a testament to the kids and everything that they've done. They bought in, they just ran with everything.
Dr. John's throwing a little shade. He's saying Elmwood Park should step up their game. Irvington sent hoodies and dry fit long sleeves. So my second part, Coach. So you kind of touched on a little bit, but why has the program been so successful?
I honestly, I think these kids, the group that we have, the group that graduated in 2020, they were just great. Like when they were younger, that's when I first started coaching, and I was going down to rec all the time, and I was coaching them down there, and we made it fun, and then they just like when we kept telling them, hey, we need a full lineup, and they just ran with it. They got the kids in the school. Even this year, to start the season, we were down a few weight classes, and the kids just said, oh, we know what we have to do, and they went and did it. It's just one thing that I've been blessed with since my time here is just the kids just buying in, like that's one of the toughest things to get them to do is to buy into everything in the culture, and they're doing that and they're running with it.
That's great. Coach, let's talk a little bit about this season. First, congratulations to your 132-pound freshman, I believe, right, who finished third in the district.
Yeah, Gabe did well.
I was going to say, can you tell us a little bit about, and please correct me if I'm pronouncing his name wrong, Gabriel Alcocer?
Alcocer, yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about him?
He's very quiet, very to himself, but he's one of the hardest workers. He's not a rah-rah guy. He just comes in, he gets to work. He's not afraid of anybody. He's not afraid of anything. He's just he's the type of kid that you want to embody the program around. Like, he's not a me guy. He does anything for his team. I remember one match we're like, hey, I need you to bump up. Yeah, I don't care, whatever you want. Hey, Gabe, think you weighing a little heavy today? Yeah, I got you, Coach. Don't worry about it. Like, everything we need, he just does. He's a big team guy. And I'll tell you what, for as good as he did in wrestling this year, he's going to be a really good football player, too. He stepped it up big time for us at filling in some fullback and outside linebacker.
That's great. I have to say, I think the picture I saw, I think that you had posted on social media, the smile on his face standing on that podium, just I feel like, all that, as a freshman, it must have been an amazing experience for him as a first-year varsity wrestler.
Oh, yeah. Well, me and him were joking beforehand because we were going out, and he had his black recreation wrestling shorts on, and I was like, you better go put on the red ones before you make the What's wrong? I was like, dude, if you go up to those black EP wrestling shorts, you're going to get me fired. And we're just giggling about that. But he's just such a good kid. He was so happy to be there. He ran into Attila Valley in the semis. That kid's really good from Wayne Valley. And, he did one or two things. He could have packed it in. Whatever, it was freshman year and made it here. But he was like, no, I want to go to regional. So he went out and he wrestled a great match.
That's awesome. And we've discussed the rise of girls wrestling on this show actually quite a bit. And I believe you have a few female wrestlers on your team. Can you talk about not only them, the girls in particular, but even like how, did you guys have girls matches? Did they fill in the spots and wrestle against the boys? Like, I know it's growing, but I don't think it's like grown to where everybody, is wrestling against just other girls. Could you talk to... Oh,
there you go.
There it is.
He said girls wrestling.
Oh, nice.
Hi.
Hi. Oh, my gosh.
First appearance on the show.
Absolutely. She's a natural.
That's it.
That's awesome.
So we actually... Oh, let me pass her off to the coach. Goodbye.
Bye.
She, we actually had a girl at 120 pounds, Viviana Alvarez, who was when she became eligible, we didn't have a 120 because our 120 broke his wrist against Glenrock. So we went a few weeks without a 120, and she came in her opening night, and she actually was losing. I think it was 7-5. She escaped, made it 7-6, and then the boy just tried to stay away, and she pinned him. Nice. About 15 seconds left, the gym went nuts, and she did that about 4 more times this year. Stepped up and pinned boys. So it was, they're definitely on the rise in our program. We didn't perform that well at regionals, so we didn't get anyone down to states, but I think a lot of it just had to do with, maybe we need more matches because, like I said, we had some eligibility concerns, so we couldn't have them on the mat right away. But, Viviana is going to be good next year, and the year after that she's going to do well. And Ariana Benitez, she was our 126-pounder. She actually stepped up a few times for us, too, on the boys' side just to help out, not give up forfeits or just, come down the criteria, one of them most forfeits. So she would just step in. She would just do whatever she could do for the team, too. But, yeah, losing Maria and Natalie, that hurt. But, yeah, the new girls are stepping up. They're coming out. They're tough. They're getting after it. It's it is for sure on the rise. That's for sure, especially at the regionals. The quality of wrestling this year. I didn't get to go to Phillipsburg, but I was very impressed with the quality of wrestling. I thought these girls were doing really well.
That's awesome. And do you have a comment?
Well, a couple comments. One from our good friend Mark Calderio. Good evening, guys. Can't be happier for my son Mark. He was a freshman wrestler at Fairlawn. 3 more years. Keep it up.
Nice. Congrats.
Congrats.
Good season.
Dr. John's also saying congrats on the 100th win, Coach. Really amazing accomplishment at Elmwood Park. Elmwood Park's AD Dan. Is it Basile?
Basil, yeah.
Basil is a really great guy. One of my favorites to work with. I'm a big fan.
Very nice.
He's good. Mr. B's a good man.
So we talked about your freshmen who made it to, finish third of the district. We talked about the girls. How about just rounding out the rest of your roster for us? Can you highlight the rest of the kids on your team?
Yeah, I mean, starting from the bottom, we got Caesar at 106. Caesar, it was one of those kids that was walking through the hallways, and our 144-pounder was like, "Let's go, you're little. Come meet Coach Mulligan." And Caesar's great. I talk to him all the time, make sure he's interested still. He loves it. He's excited for the offseason to get a full offseason under his belt. Then 13, Devin Longacre. Unfortunately, he took 4th in the district, but he was also battling a separated shoulder for the last 3 weeks of the season. So not having him 100% kind of hurt us. 120, we had Viviana. 26 was Stallings. He stepped up. He took 4th in the district. He had a very good year. 32, Gabe. I mean, can't say enough about Gabe. 38 was a senior, Jaden Regala. He ended up actually getting hurt, so he couldn't really compete for us at the end. But 44, we had Mikey Lombardo. He had a tough draw in the districts, but he won 25 matches. And then at 144, 150, my nephew actually came back to Elmwood Park, so that's a huge upgrade for our team and our program.
Nice.
He's a high caliber kid. And then 65, David Rojas came in. First year wrestler, won 30 matches. The judo background, so he was just throwing people all over the place. We were able to put the things together. 285, we had Tyler Cario. 190, Joe Valenciano. Those guys are all program guys. They bought in everything we're doing. That was the biggest thing with us this year. I mean, we hit a spot in the season. We were like, I think it was like 4-13, and it was not looking good. And then between the COVID shutdowns and injuries and grade or academic stuff, and then out of nowhere, once we finally sat everybody down, we talked about it. Coach Miri and I, we got everybody on page, and then we just came flying through. I mean, we improved so much the last month of the season. It was a fun ride. It was a real fun ride at the end.
That's awesome.
We missed the playoffs by like 0.4, but it is what it is.
Coach, before I get to my next question, I gotta say, like when people go and they'll say like, who's a perfect fit at a perfect school? I mean, you and Elmwood Park are like the perfect fit. It's you love that school. You're Elmwood Park. The kids love you. You do more than one sport, and I gotta say, like, you look at college, and even I guess more college, not NFL, but like college, when they go like, that's a perfect fit. You are like the perfect fit for Elmwood Park. It's like the perfect match, and you just do an unbelievable job there. You really do.
Thank you.
And,
I appreciate that.
No problem. And my next question is going to be that you are a multi-sport coach. So, what would you say? I mean, listen, you got to love what you do. You're doing more than one sport, right? But what would you say for you or for coaching multi-sports, pros and cons?
I mean, I think the biggest pro is you get to be with the kids all the time. You're able to watch, make sure they're doing their schoolwork. You have eyes on them. I think that's the biggest thing. And I mean, you get so many kids that are like, oh, I just want to work out after football season. It's like, all right, we all know that kid that says that. You're going to be in there for a month, and then you're going to get bored of it. Like, you're going to get stronger wrestling or playing basketball. So my big thing is just the activity, and I think it just brings a part of school pride. They learn that pride aspect and the culture, and you could expand that culture throughout the whole building. And that's how you really get a change when you start seeing the participation numbers go up. Cons? Well, I mean,
for you, I'm saying for you, for coaching multi-sports.
Oh, my girlfriend's giving me the death stare.
No, but it's that, you know what though? It, like, honestly, like, it is true. Listen, that's a lot. It's a big dedication thing for one sport. You're doing multi-sports, and your heart's in it. You're putting all your effort into that. I mean, that's a big thing, a big commitment.
It's a lot. Like I said, it's something that like I've always wanted to do. Like I got into teaching so I could coach, and I always wanted to do it. At first, when I started coaching at Mount Ida College in Boston, I was like, this is great, but it was like missing that one aspect, that like daily interaction with the kids, because I wasn't teaching. I wasn't in the classroom. I was in the office doing stuff, making calls, watching film. And I love that aspect of it, but just like I don't know, I just like being around the kids. You know, you get to take an interest in them. And I remember when I started coaching with Nicky Campanelli back in 2013, taught me a real valuable lesson. Then it was all about building relationships and the relationships you keep with your athletes and that you keep. And that was something that always resonated with me. And I just think that's like the biggest pro is the relationships.
Okay.
So that kind of is a good segue into my next question, Coach, a little bit. Like, obviously as coaches, we always hope to develop our athletes into better players, right? But it's really like the life lessons, right? And like through those relationships that you teach them too. But I think of wrestling as one of the toughest sports when it comes to mental toughness. So what do you hope your wrestlers take away from Elmwood Park wrestling in addition to just becoming better wrestlers?
Even about like the wrestler part, like, yeah, it's great if we could develop them as a good wrestler, but I don't know. I always like to look at it as like how they came to the program, how they're leaving the program as a person, like your character. Are you a high character kid? Are you someone who's, going to not follow the rules, not buy into things? We always said, like when we were coaching football, our first few years I always said like those were the rough years, but I always would say like I'm more worried about the fathers they're going to become, or the employees these young men are going to become. Winning football games is great, but right now we're up against it, so let's just make sure we're developing like good people. And I got a lot of that too from Coach Murray. He started saying that all the time. Be a good person, everything else takes care of itself. That really kind of like helped reinstate and solidify, I guess, my point of view on that.
Nice.
And I guess my last one, and again, you touched on it a little. Coach-player relationship. How important is it, A, when you're coaching them, but like you kind of just mentioned, and B, later on in life when they graduate, that's still your relationship with those kids?
I think it's important. I look at mine with my coaches. Like, I remember I saw Coach Charlie at the States, 2 years ago? I was like a little kid. I was like, Coach, what's up? How's everything? I just get excited. Those are guys that help shape the person I am, Yep. Coach Shama, I see Coach Shama, Coach's son now. I see him all the time. I still call him Coach. He's just someone that has helped shape me and really put perspective for me into like the things that I wanted to do. My college coach is the same thing. I talk to him every once in a while. And it's just, I just like to keep that relationship. And like I said, like I was fortunate enough growing up to have awesome coaches who were great role models for me on what to do and how to do things. But, I think that relationship is just so important because, they spent a lot of time with you. You got to make sure it's positive.
Mm-hmm.
Coach, how was it getting back to, like, normal type matches this season with fans?
Oh, I loved it. It was great. The first match, I was like, we're doing Lehighs. We're doing everything. Everything's back. I was like, I can't take this anymore.
That's great. It must have been nice for the kids, too. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
all right,
well, music and everything, they were jacked up.
That's awesome. We do a little what we call rapid fire. You're a pro. We had to mix it up a little bit for you, Coach, because we want to give you any of the same questions. So we got a little spin on rapid fire.
It's like a little multiple choice.
A little, yeah. We had to mix it up for you a little bit tonight.
Okay, so my first one is there's a couple news broke from a couple of countries that they're going to a 4-day work week. So my question would be, if the United States ever went to a 4-day work week, would you rather have off Friday or Monday?
Do we play football games on Fridays?
Oh, good question.
Yes.
Is the NFL still playing on Sundays?
Yes.
See, these are the hard-hitting questions in rapid fire.
Damn it, this one's tough. I would like to sleep in on a Friday because I get really nervous before games.
All right.
So I'd like to be rested and sleep in.
All right, nice.
Like it.
All right, Coach, you can choose between these two superpowers. Would you rather have the ability to fly or the ability to be invisible?
Probably invisible when I get home after
Your girlfriend's really going to be giving you the evil eye now.
My girlfriend's great, but sometimes the times that I've come in with all these matches and practices, she's great, but sometimes I would like to be invisible. So she doesn't.
All right, on Sunday, a little unfortunate incident in the college basketball world with Juwan Howard, head coach of Michigan, slapping the assistant coach all over the news. Do you think, A, he should have been suspended for the rest of the regular season like he did? B, suspended for the rest of the year, including postseason? Or C, fired from the University of Michigan?
Would have been fired right away. Because if a kid did that, he would have been expelled.
Good point.
Very good point.
I mean, everyone, we all have emotions after games and bad calls, whatever. Emotions run high, but you got to control yourself to not put your hands on somebody. That's assault.
Yeah.
You can't do that. What are you teaching your kids? Like, when something doesn't go your way and you're angry about it, throw a punch.
Exactly.
It was crazy to watch, like, the kids trying to keep everybody separated. Yeah.
I mean, I've had my emotions get the best of me a few times, but I've never to the point of physical blows. That's just, you got to draw the line somewhere.
Yep.
All right, Coach, your baby girl made a little appearance before, so my next question is about her. So does she make it to matches yet, or is she still too young?
She did. She was at the 100th ceremony.
Ah, awesome.
That's nice.
She's been to a few football games, too. I think she came to like 3 or 4. She came when my nephew first came back. She came to, that's her godfather, so she came to her godfather's first match back.
So nice.
But yeah, she's been to a few. Mom and sisters are all cheerleaders. Her little sister is actually a Division I cheerleader at Louisville, so it's a battle I'm losing left and right.
I had a couple follow-up questions. I was going to say, do you think wrestling is in her future?
I mean, it's up to me. I don't know. My girlfriend calls the shots around here, not me.
It's way too early for that. Way too early.
And then
she came to practice with me today because my mom ended up being sick, so I had to bring her to practice. She loved it. She was just sitting in the stroller, like, looking at everybody.
You know what? I love that, Coach, because I, coached for 15 years at Montville, and I had several assistants, longtime assistants that had children Rebecca, my one assistant, had her baby and was back the next day. I mean, it was crazy. But they would bring their kids to practice, and I loved it because the kids get to see you in that role, and I think that's so important. I love that you brought her to practice. I just think that's great. But my last question is, what's her favorite toy at the moment?
It's right here.
Oh, cute.
Bigger than her, but
well, Coach, you know what? This should be like the Pat McAfee show. Like, we should be breaking news here. Like, Coach, we should just say right now, when she gets to high school, you'll be the flag football coach, right? The girls' flag football coach.
I tried. Girlfriend went on strike. I was like, I want to do flag football. She was like, no.
Well, I'm saying when your daughter's eligible in high school, you got years for that. All right, here's my last one. You got to be creative on this one. Say Elmwood Park, a big donator or whatever, somehow they become one of the first stadiums in New Jersey to get, quote unquote, an athletic arena or athletic stadium with a dome. Football field, you could wrestle, baseball, softball. If you guys got that, what would 2 things you would want in that arena? Could be anything. Like, could be, I want a McDonald's. No, I'm just giving them. It doesn't have to be a sport thing. It could be anything.
Say like a sports performance area.
Okay.
Like a weight room, but with all the top end stuff, like sports performance. And I always wanted it to do our film sessions in the auditorium, just because the drops, the whole vibe. I would like an auditorium in there, like a film area auditorium.
Okay, I got one more for you. Would you? Again, this is it's going to happen someday. But as a football coach, would you rather have it to where, hey, you're getting rain, you're getting snow, or would you want to have a dome?
If you would have asked me about whenever I was playing, I would have said, bring on the rain and snow. Let's do it. As a coach now, absolutely not. I hate when it rains. I hate when it snows. I hate being cold.
So you'll take the dome.
Take the dome for that. But as a player, 100%. I love the mud games, all the diving around in practices. Now older, no, I can't do
that. Cold and wet, bad combo. It's the worst. All right, Coach, our last one for you is a would you rather question. Would you rather go into the past and meet your ancestors, or would you rather go into the future and meet your great-great-grandchildren?
Ancestors. I want to see where I'm from.
Nice. Very nice. Go. All right, Coach. Thanks so much again for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Oh, and Coach, you got to commit to us because we already got Bergen Catholic. We got our boys from Beckton, and who was the other one? We're getting, everything's getting better now with the COVID and all that. So we're looking to do like these high school game days. So
yeah, let me know.
Let's go. We want to get a nice high school game day at EP. We'll set it up.
Let's do it. We'll do it.
And we're ready to roll.
Sounds good. Thanks so much.
Congratulations on 100, Coach.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Good night.
You good.
Okay, Coach Mulligan, Elmwood Park.
Wrestling, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Like, dead serious. Like, that's just the perfect fit. They are. I don't know how they couldn't be better off. Somebody other than Coach Mulligan being in there. I mean, the love for that school.
Yeah.
He is Elmwood Park, and that goes a long way. Like when you're at your school, I just think it's. It's different. It really is.
No,
it's
definitely.
different. And he's just an unbelievable fit over there.
He also has the, like you said, having grown up, gone to school there, it's more than that, though. First of all, he has the respect of other coaches just based on, the comments that we get and see and on the show and everything. And, his dedication to his programs is just, it's so evident, So, they're lucky to have him for sure, for many reasons.
Absolutely.
I wanted to mention, I forgot, Coach Taylor, last week when we had on Lyndhurst girls flag football, had offered them some, what's the word I'm looking for, to kind of work with them in their first year as like they kind of their girls learn the ropes. He was giving them some pointers and saying they did wind up scheduling something together.
Awesome.
So he did reach out to us, let us know that did work out. So Dr. John, thank you for always, he's so good to his programs, of course, but he also
helping with the others.
Yeah. So
and you know what, it's you would think it's not a neighboring thing, so it would be like Irvington and Lyndhurst, you're never going to, but you know what? Just like that, reaching out.
Yeah.
It's a successful program. They had a successful program the first time with the girls. Now Dr. John's giving helping out with Lyndhurst, and it's awesome. That's what it's about.
Yeah, exactly. And,
that's what it's about.
All working together. And speaking of Irvington, we do have our next two guests ready to come on in, so I'm going to let them in, and then I will officially introduce them, of course. Let me make sure they're getting in here. Okay. All right, there's Coach. Hi, Coach. How you doing?
Hey, guys. How we doing? It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you so much for joining us. And hi, Latrell. Thanks for joining us as well.
Thank you.
You guys can hear us okay?
Yes, you're good to go. We hear you perfectly.
Awesome. So allow me to officially introduce you to our audience. We are joined by head bowling coach at Irvington High School, Coach Myles Hart. He's been the head coach there since 2016. This season, his girls team finished second overall in the Super Essex Conference and the Essex County Tournament. And he also had a male bowler finish second on the boys' side. He's also the freshman girls volleyball coach and the freshman boys volleyball coach. And he's joined by one of his bowlers, Latrell Ellis. So once again, guys, welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
So, Coach, I'm going to start. So, Dr. Taylor was nice enough to kind of give me your contact information so we could get in touch and have you on the show and highlight your program. And he gave me a little background information about how, you've really grown the program. And he told me that, when he first started, that you guys were on the verge of maybe talking of cutting the program, and he came to you about really growing the numbers, right? And now you have 40 kids, you're not co-ed, you have a separate boys and girls team. So I was wondering if you could just tell us, how did you go about growing that program?
Well, when I first began, the big issue was being co-ed. So, we would go to bowling matches and it was great to participate in, but there wasn't much competition going on. We were in very tough division with schools like Livingston, Seton Hall Prep, very good bowling schools. In fact, Seton Hall Prep, they won their state sectional, so they're an impressive team. So we would be competing against pretty much all boy teams, and it would be a mix of girls and boys. And one thing I must say about Dr. Taylor, he is a wonderful AD. He goes out of his way to basically try to get as much as he can out of the programs at Irvington High School. And as you know, we have a great football and basketball program. So when I was hired as coach, he was actually not the AD. So I did a first season co-ed, and I believe the second season was co-ed too. And then he said, you know what, why don't we try to get you in another division where you can have a boys and a girls team? And that's really where the bowling program took off. And it really was nice to see my teams compete. We really couldn't compete with what we had due to the co-ed standing. I mean, you have one girl, you got to basically play the boys. and that's difficult to do. So I thank him so much for doing that. And there was rumor that the program was going to be eliminated due to lack of participation. Now, they chose me as the bowling coach when the old bowling coach retired, because I am a bowler myself. I do tournaments, leagues, and all that good stuff. So I have a passion for it as it is. So really, once I got going, I saw that, the girls can always compete. If you have a good set of girls who will come to practice every day, they will make the advancements to progress to a point where they can compete for this or that. But it really gave me the opportunity to have the two teams and have them compete against kids who were on their level or closer level, or on a level where they could compete, have fun, and participate at the same time.
Nice. And I have a quick question for Latrell as well. Latrell, could you tell us how you became involved in bowling? I think Coach had mentioned to me that maybe this was your first year bowling. I didn't want to misquote, though. And if it was, how you came to be part of the team or took an interest, and how you found it.
Well, Coach Hart has been my history teacher twice. He's been my my history teacher from freshman year, and he's my U.S. History 2 teacher this year. He tried to get me into the program my freshman year, but I was stubborn and I didn't know what I was doing, so I was like, nah.
That's where I pull my kids from. Listen, Irvington's not a place where you find many bowlers. Okay, certain towns are good at this or have plenty of athletes coming into this sport. Irvington doesn't have bowlers, and I always go after the honor kids because I get honor classes, and I just feel that honor kids really excel at bowling. So go ahead, Latrell. I sort of had to pester him numerous times. But hey, you got to do what you got to do.
Exactly, Coach.
100%.
And so this year, I pretty much was like, I really want to do bowling because I wasn't involved in any sports. I was involved in JROTC, but it wasn't a sport. So I wanted to get involved with a sport. And so I already knew there was a bowling team, and I was already pretty cool with Mr. Hart since he was my teacher. And so I told him from the jump before bowling season even started, I was like, Mr. Hart, I'm bowling this year. And he was just like, let's go.
Nice.
That's awesome. Nice. Coach, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And Latrell, obviously, thank you for coming on with us. So, Coach, can you highlight some of the other bowlers?
Sure. I have Jaden Boyd. He placed second, and he bowled a hell of a series. He had a 682 in the individual at the county tournament. And Essex County has really good bowlers. Kieran Cox out of West Orange. The kid bowled an 804. I don't know if you guys are familiar with bowling scores, but an 804 is a tremendous score. And he wound up winning the stepladder competition. Michelle Phil's aim. She's a freshman. To get a freshman into the top 12 and knowing I have her for 3 more years is something I'm very excited about. My varsity bowlers this year were Theon Murray, Toby Ajani. This was a kid who started out as an 80 bowler. By the end of the season, he was at like a 140, 150 bowler. I have David O. I'm not even going to try his last name, but I have a really good set of kids, and I never had a bench. So I actually have a bench where I can pull from the JV. And Latrell was part of the JV team, and we focus on varsity, let's be honest. When you do sports, you focus on varsity. But the JV team did something really amazing this year. A, they took it seriously. And B, I think the last 7 weeks, I don't think they lost a point. Is that true, Latrell? I don't think you guys lost 1 point, and you wound up winning the JV standings, were first place going away. So, when you look at a bowling team, win 7 weeks in a row and not lose a game, there's constant improvement over the week. So kudos to this. And I must say about this group, they were committed. I've had, and this is what I say to all high school athletes out there. It's a different generation than mine. I'm 43 years old. You have to be committed to your sport, and you have to make sacrifices for your team. And one thing I try to, teach my athletes, and you have to realize a lot of bowlers, they haven't competed. They haven't been part of a team. You have to teach them that being part of a team is a wonderful feeling, but you have to compete. Even if you're not at their skill level, you need to show up every time and also represent Irvington, because that's what I also try to draw upon. You're representing Irvington, and I want to put a good face forward about Irvington High School and the programs they have. It's not just football. It's not just basketball. We have other programs that are doing wonderful things, and I really try to teach my athletes that. And it sort of came together this year. Every kid came to practice every day. I mean, they would harass me. I couldn't get a day off. I mean, pretty much everyday practices, Mr. Hart, their practice. And that excitement as a coach fuels you to keep on going. And we ended the year, we had a final practice where we had a tournament. And I like to make competitions in the practices. So we had a 16 single elimination tournament. One of the JV kids actually won it. We did it with handicap to even it out. And I got a trophy is going to go to the winner. So one of our players is going to leave with a trophy at the end of the year. So again, I believe in investing. If you invest in kids, I really do believe they will invest back in you. So I think that's a thing you need to do as a coach. Invest in your kids. A lot of these kids don't come with the proper equipment. I go out of my way to get that for them. I'll buy balls for them because you have to put them in a position to win. I feel like that's the job of a coach.
I got one more for Latrell. Latrell, so you said so coach wanted you freshman year. This year you decide to go out for the team. Would you say when you do join the team this year, would you say this year it was what you thought it was? It was a little easier or it was a little harder than what you thought?
What do you mean by easier or harder?
Like just both, to pick it up and like to be on the high school team.
Oh, it wasn't like hard to pick up. I mean, with a great coach like with Mr. Hart, he kind of taught me how to play. Like he turned me from like a 90 average bowler to like maybe a 130, 140 average bowler, which is pretty good. It wasn't easy, but it wasn't also hard, especially with his knowledge of the game and me being hungry for the knowledge of the game as well.
Awesome. Coach Taylor saying Coach Hart was our academic coach of the year a few years ago. Bowling had a 3.7 team GPA that year. This year was 3.48. So congratulations on that also.
Yeah, I love it. Student athletes. That's great.
Well, that's the key, right? You want a student and an athlete all in the same one. That's like the super combo.
Yeah, absolutely. Latrell, I'm going to kind of piggyback off what Kurt had asked you. So now you've had this first season of bowling under your belt. So now moving forward, you have 2 seasons left. What are you kind of looking forward to, or what have you set some goals that you want for your remaining seasons?
Well, I want to try to get to a 160 average. So I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of bowling over the off season and trying to improve and keep working on my bowling technique and everything.
That's great. And Coach, I know you mentioned how the kids are excited and everything. I can't help but just speaking to you and hearing, Coach Taylor talk about you that, that's something that you've instilled in them. So, congratulations on that. But I'm wondering, you had kind of touched on this. Do you get bowlers that have experience, or most of your athletes are new to the sport, or is it kind of a mix?
Jen, I think that's what's most rewarding about what I do with these kids. Like I said, I literally have to pull kids out of my honor classes in the hallways. In fact, I tell all my kids who have been with me 1 or 2 years, now you need to recruit for me.
Yeah.
So I tell them, get the kids. And Jaden's a football player. So I always tell him, try to get some football players to come over and try it out. But I get kids raw. These kids have never thrown a ball. They don't know the game in and out. They don't understand oil patterns. Like when you try to explain there's oil in the lane to kids who have never bowled, and then you try to teach them adjusting it, and you're telling them how much oil's on the lane, how little oil is in the lane, they look at you like you're nuts. Like, there's oil in the lane. I'm like, yeah, there's oil in the lane. I'm like, you have to figure out, especially the kids who throw the hooks, you have to figure out where the oil is, where your ball's going to move, where the friction is. So there's so much to bowling that, people who play casually understand. It's a really intricate game that requires precision and really patience because you got to adjust. But I basically get 99.9% of the bowlers have never picked up a ball.
Now, do you like that? Like, so, because it's almost like a fresh slate, not breaking bad habits or trying to reteach the correct way, look. And like you said, it must be very rewarding to see them grow. Yeah,
you see them start as kids who just come to have fun. And then once they learn the game and they get into the competitions, it's fascinating to watch. I mean, kids who would have never thought to bowl. I mean, I had 4 kids graduate, more than 4 kids, like 12 seniors graduate last year. So this was actually a rebuilding year for me. I had 2 kids returning. For my girls to finish second, and the whole team was new, except 1 senior who had just joined last year. And then the boys JV, they were all new also. I only had one. I actually had no varsity returning on the boys' side. So this was a total rebuilding season. Wow. The boys were over 500. The girls to finish second in the county tournament. That's the second year we've done that in a row. So kudos to them, though, because they put the time in. They came to practice. And I just love when I get a WhatsApp text, kids are watching PBA bowling. Who would have thought 2 years ago kids in Irvington, New Jersey would turn on PBA bowling and watch it. So it's really great to see because it's a great sport. It's something they can do after school. After they're done with high school, they can join leagues and tournaments and continue to compete. So it's not as easy as giving a kid a ball and, running or doing this. You really got to learn the game. And like I said, I get the kids raw, and that's even more of a rewarding experience.
Actually, my question is going to be about Dr. John, but Dr. John with another comment. Honestly, Irvington is lucky to have Coach Hart on our staff. He has made Irvington into a top quality program. Irvington is not a gimme for any team, and Coach Hart has created a program that can win the county championships given any year. He single-handedly saved this program and made it into one of our more competitive sports. So that's from Dr. John.
Nice.
And Dr. Taylor is a awesome AD who, you know what I love about Taylor? Like, he texts you after every match. You don't expect that kind of attention, especially for bowling, but he's always inquiring, what are you doing? What's working? And, that motivates you. That pushes you more too, knowing that, there's a concerned individual who's a higher up, who's always checking in how your teams are doing with every game and match. So at Irvington, I really feel we have a program going the right way. Every year I do have to recruit new kids. So it is a challenge to get those kids. And really, they just got to get through the first month to know they can learn it if they're patient. But I love my position as Irvington bowling coach. It's something that I look forward to every 3 months of the year.
Coach actually just answered my question, because my question was about Dr. John. He promotes all his programs. What is it like to coach, under an AD like Dr. John? So you kind of just answered that. So
it makes it very easy, and you're not shy to talk. One thing about, in a job, if you have someone you feel intimidated to talk to, it can make it difficult to make headway. So it is wonderful to have an administrator and AD where you feel comfortable talking to them and you won't be judged about an idea or something like this. And, that comfort level really opens up a fair line of communication where you can speak freely and come up with ideas that help the program advance.
All right, I'm going to go to Luttrell on the next one. So, you said before, Coach wanted you out freshman year, sophomore year. Now you decide to come out. How happy are you that you made that decision, not just for yourself, but for you to be part of a program, especially an Irvington program, and play for a sport for Irvington High School?
I'm so excited. This is something it is now a passion of mine. I would have never thought I would be so passionate to want to go bowling every single day.
Luttrell is one of the more passionate bowlers. And when I told him we were going to be on a talk show, I said, "Hey kids, who do you think would be perfect for the bowling show?" I mean, it was hands down Luttrell. So
that's awesome.
Awesome.
I'm playing around with you.
No, but that's awesome, Luttrell. I mean, again, and what does it mean? You're, again, not just for yourself, because obviously you always do it for yourself, but you're representing, like Coach is saying, you're representing Irvington High School.
Yeah, it's always good to represent your community, because your community pretty much made you who you are. And so to give back to the community by trying to build up this program and make this program as good as it can be is pretty much my thanks to the community.
All right, okay. Awesome. Coach, I have one last question for you. Obviously you're a 3-sport coach, so I know that's, we're both former 3-sport coaches as well, so we know how time consuming that is, but I feel like bowling presents an additional challenge for you. You have a girls team and a boys team competing at the same time. So how is it to manage basically 2 varsity teams at one time?
There's 2 differences when you coach bowling. First of all, when you coach most sports, you practice on site. Your basketball, okay, go downstairs to the gym. We have to go the lanes and back, and that's time consuming and whatnot. But yeah, when you're coaching two sports, it is a delicate mix. You have to make sure that you put the proper attention towards the proper athletes, and really you try to be as fair as you can towards both teams, because you want to make sure you give as much attention. One thing I've learned in coaching, especially bowling, is I don't cut kids either. I have a practice squad. I want to keep these kids busy after school. I want them continuing to do something after school. You don't know how many kids have come up to me and said, "Mr. Hart, I don't know what I'm going to do at the bowling season." And I want to fill out their schedule. So I don't cut kids. I have a practice team that just comes, and whether they're to socialize, whatever, they're bowling, they're learning the game. They may not make it to a game, but I'm allowing them to do something after school that they can talk about and be fraternal with their friends. I will tell you a funny story about this group. I did a tournament Saturday, and it was being broadcast on YouTube. So I'm in the middle of it with Charles laughing. I told the kids I'm going to be on YouTube for a bowling tournament. Just set it in the passerby. It was 10 in the morning. Didn't think a kid would be up. I'm bowling in the tournament. The host of the tournament comes over. Who's the coach in the building? The whole kids were blowing up the chat.
That's awesome.
Tournament. I was like, my God, these kids at 10 in the morning, I thought they'd be still sleeping, but they were rooting me on and showing me support. I wound up pushing.
Awesome.
It was awesome. I finished fourth in the tournament. And I think they sort of motivated me to, perform. But thank you to the team for that. And I thank the team for their support. And that goes to show you invest, you often get an investment back even when you don't know.
Very
That's
nice.
awesome.
All right, you ready for a little rapid fire?
Yeah.
All right, so this the next part are a little more like fun, quick questions for you guys. All right, you're up first there.
All right,
Mr.
so I'm
Lindsay.
gonna do one for Coach and one for Latrell.
Okay.
Okay, so Coach, you were a baseball player, correct?
I was.
All right, so my question for you, were you a better baseball player or a better bowler?
I'm going to have to say in my prime baseball, but I would say probably baseball when I was in my prime, even though it was short-lived, maybe 2 or 3 years. I'm a good bowler, but I still have to work on my game to get where I would want to be considered as good as I was in baseball.
All right, Latrell, I'll go to you. If you're going to cheat one day, Burger King, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, or Wendy's?
McDonald's. It's good and it's cheap. You gotta get McDonald's.
I'm with you.
That attitude there.
I'm with you.
Too funny. All right, guys, mine is about your best game you've ever bowled. So, Latrell, what was your best game this season?
195.
Oh, nice. And you said you went from a 90, right? Good for you. That's fantastic. And, Coach, have you ever bowled a perfect game?
Go ahead, Latrell. You can take this one, too.
Yes, he did.
Go ahead, Latrell. This is so ironic you asked this. Go ahead.
He bowled his first perfect game in front of us in practice.
Wow.
And I had been working on this. Like, I tell the kids, if you want to be good, you got to practice. I practice on my own 3 times a week. In fact, I'm going up north to go throw some games. I bowled a 300 at our practice. Sometimes I play with the kids, just to, so they could emulate, see what I do. And I mean, these lanes were perfect. I even, did I say to you, Latrell, these are 300 lanes? Yeah. I said to one of the kids, I said, this is perfect conditions for a 300. And the last ball,
I might get it.
And Latrell was videotaping, and I hit my 300.
There you go.
Awesome.
All my friends make a joke, well, it wasn't in league play. I said, well, listen, I got to do it in front of my bowling squad, which is even more awesome.
Meaningful for sure.
All right, we got to get into a little food now. I got to one food, but now we're big pizza people. So we're going to go see Dr. John at some point. We're going to get down to Irvington. We want pizza. Coach, where are we going to go?
I don't think Irvington pizza is not something I would recommend. The pizzerias there, I've only tried Bruno's. There's a lot of franchise pizzerias there. I'm spoiled where I'm from with pizza, so it's hard. I mean, I know Pete and Elda's, Vic's. I'm sure you guys are familiar with it.
You're from the Shore area, Pete and Elda's.
So pizza around there is tough to beat. But I guess I would go, if there was a pizzeria in Irvington, maybe Bruno's. Latrell would probably have a better
Latrell,
answer.
what about you?
I would have to disagree on that. It's a place in Irvington called Big Joe's. The pizza is phenomenal. You should try it.
Okay, Big Joe's.
Big
There you
Joe's
go.
it is when we make it down. Awesome. All right, my next one is I kind of went on a little would you rather kick this evening in our rapid fire. So, Coach, we'll start with you. It's going to be the same question for the two of you. So, would you rather only be able to whisper or only be able to shout?
Whisper.
Whisper, okay. How about you, Latrell?
Yeah, I have to whisper too. I could just have a megaphone.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. You could make do with the whispering. That's good. I was thinking from a coaching perspective, I'm like, how would I not be able to shout? I'd want to whisper too, but I like coaching. I'm a shouter.
All right, my last one, I'm going to go off key because Dr. John's probably listening. If Dr. John was to bowl, you know what? I'll say he has.
I may hold him up to this challenge one day. Now,
here's what we're gonna do.
YouTube it.
We're gonna give Dr. John coach for 1 week of practice. Coach, what would be the highest he would bowl in your opinion?
How many games does he get?
3.
All right, I'm gonna go with a 107.
Latrell, what do you think, Dr. John?
I'll give him a 120.
Okay.
Maybe he gets a strike here and there.
All right, 120.
All right.
But Coach, if you do this, we want this live. We need video of this.
Listen. Taylor was a rugby player, so he's got some grit in him because he played rugby, I believe, in high school. So if he played rugby, he's definitely got the competitive flair.
Yeah.
And,
we need video, Coach. That's what we want video of that.
I will keep that in mind, guys.
All right, and my last one for you guys is another little quick multiple choice. Your preference: Nike, Under Armour, or Adidas? Coach, want to start with you?
Yeah, I think I like Under Armour. I like their gear, and I think they have better clothing apparel than Nike. Under Armour would be my votes.
And how about you, Latrell?
I would say Nike. The brand itself is just like the brand itself has just set itself apart from all those other brands as a total from all the years past.
Nice.
Dr.
Nice.
John has responded, and these are his exact words. Ain't nobody wants to see that video. Come on, Dr. John.
I'm gonna drag him out next year. You watch.
You gotta
There
get
we
him.
go.
You
Awesome,
gotta get him.
Awesome. Coach and Latrell, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Coach, keep up the good work. Latrell,
so much,
and
guys.
keeping up the good work as well. So a pleasure to have you guys.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for coming
No
on.
problem. Have a good
Have
night.
a great evening, guys. Take
You
care.
too. Bye-bye.
Okay, so Coach Hart and Latrell, Irvington Bowling. And, it's awesome how, it's kind of reminding me almost like a Coach Sheridan with the football. When they say program's down, listen, we kind of need you to save it.
Yeah.
And, Coach, it seems like Coach has. Coach saved the program.
We see a lot of that, and even Coach Mulligan.
Coach Mulligan, absolutely. Absolutely.
In his program. And you know what, though? I love that it's not just, it's not a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not a self-absorbed saving of the program. It's a let the kids enjoy this program, and the benefits of. And I just love that the kids that bowling is an option. It's not an option at every school, and
Right.
it's an option for those kids to take part in that and maybe be introduced to something that they wouldn't normally think they would like. And his guest Latrell that he brought on, I think, is a perfect example of that, and he's so passionate about it. And I think that's awesome.
It's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's kind of funny because it's realistic. Like I remember Coach Sheridan always saying when we were in St. Mary, grab this kid, grab that kid.
Yeah.
And it's like that for all the sports, and like Coach is saying, Coach Carenti said it last week, they had to grab some guys. Coach, Hart saying I had to grab guys. I remember Coach Sheridan. I remember him always, who's this kid? Grabbed him. I saw him. He's a big kid. He's playing football,
right.
And it's crazy. Now, when you look down the line, then you see that kid as a junior and a senior, and you're like, what, you didn't play? Coach had to grab me out, but I'm glad he did. And then, it's like the rest is history.
To see them evolve as a player and learn, again, the life skills we talked about with Coach Mulligan, even beyond the playing field or the mat or the lanes wherever you're learning those lessons. But, and it kind of goes back to being that multi-sport athlete, too. Just in high school, the ability to represent your school. It's just such a nice thing.
Dr. John saying Hart gave me too much credit on the 107. If you're betting on the YouTube video, take the under. I have faith in Dr. John.
Funny.
I do. I have faith in Dr. John.
I do, too.
By the way, I do want to give a shout out for one more thing for Irvington. Raheem Morris, defensive coordinator of the Rams.
Oh, that's right.
Obviously got a Super Bowl from Irvington, and he gave a little shout out. I think he had like the sweatshirt on, or something happened where he was talking about Irvington. I was watching. I was like, I remember him saying Raheem Morris.
Yep.
So it's a nice little year Irvington had.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say
all around. So good stuff.
Everywhere. They win.
Yep,
But
nice.
And again, obviously Dr. John is always a big part of our show. He's always comes on. But like you said, going out and helping a guy like Coach Tuero with the girls flag football, and listen, it's a new sport. What the rules are, anything that someone who's been there a year could do. I think that's awesome what they do.
And we always say it, and we see it firsthand how he supports his own coaches, but to extend that help to, people outside of his Irvington realm is just,
we told Dr.
Nice
John
thing.
all along, don't worry, you're going to get the sectional final. You're going to get it done. He'd come on, we got it. Dr. John, you're going to just...
Oh, too funny. Well, I'd like to...
It's going to happen.
Again, thank Coach Mulligan, Coach Hart, and of course Latrell for coming on this evening, and thank everybody for watching.
That's it. We got a big show working on next week,
Yeah.
and we will see you guys